Residents of the South Wales town say they feel under siege from dangerous e-motorbike riders. Now, faster and more powerful than e-bikes, e-motorbikes are becoming increasingly popular. But residents in one South Wales town say it's only a matter of time before someone is killed by a reckless rider.
Yeah, have a look at the pictures in this report. They're quite startling because unlike e-bikes, e-motorbikes don't need the rider to pedal. They can reach speeds upwards of 60 miles an hour. And people in Tredegar say that in the wrong hands, they could be fatal, as Jordan Davis has been finding out.
A social media video showing someone riding on one wheel at night in the rain past a police officer in Swansea city centre with no helmets, and then they ride on the pavement around a blind corner. It's dangerous and illegal riding.
This is the main thoroughfare of Tredegar.
And it's happening all over the country, including in Tredegar.
They go round and round about 9 times out of 10 in the wrong way.
Hayden is a local councillor. He knows of 2 elderly people who've been hit by e-bikes recently.
I believe somebody's going to get killed. I honestly believe that it's only by the grace of God at the moment that people haven't got killed. There have been a number of minor accidents, near misses, and the other thing that I am concerned about is that people are going to take the law into their own hands. I've been told by a number of people if I catch them and I just say please let the police do their job. I got great respect for the police, but on this case I feel their hands are tied.
Police are trying to tackle it with sophisticated methods, like this from Gwent Police, where they track a problem rider from the air. The force is encouraging people to report issues with e-bikes and e-motorcycles. They say antisocial behaviour in Blaenau Gwent has dropped by more than a third. But problems with nuisance riders persist.
How many businesses have gone in town?
And in Tredegar, some believe it's so bad, they're now thinking about closing their businesses here. Kevin is the town's mayor and a business owner. He believes the problem is having a wider impact.
In my opinion, it's getting worse and worse. You see riding through town at silly speeds, very dangerous. On the pavement is one of the worst ones I've seen. And when people and families are coming out of shops and businesses, you know what I mean? Sooner or later, somebody's going to get struck by one of these bikes. When we are speaking to local businesses, is that they are ready to pull out of towns with this problem, because of course it's going to be harmful to their businesses and to their clients and to anybody walking to the shop.
An 18-year-old man was recently jailed for this, crashing into a pedestrian in Port Talbot. You can see how this could have been worse given the speed he was travelling at. The rider came off but was unharmed. Michelle says the road outside the pub and hotel she runs is one of the worst.
Well, they really spin up the road. And how they get away with it, I don't know.
They're pulling wheelies and riding them.
They do it outside the police station as well.
But they're riding...
Yeah, doing skids, all that, past the police station.
This is an issue across Wales and can be tricky to tackle. But now there's concern that it's not just dangerous to individuals, but detrimental to entire communities.
Jordan Davis, BBC News.
Remarkable pictures, weren't they? Let's talk to Tony Campbell. He's from the Motorcycle Industry Association, joins us this morning. Tony, morning to you. Thanks for taking the time to talk to us. Could you, just to be completely clear for everybody, just explain the difference between an e-bike and an e-motorbike, what's legal and what's not, please?
OK, so good morning. An e-bike should have a motor that's no more powerful than 250 watts, should be pedal assisted, should do a maximum speed of 15.5 miles per hour, and there should be no facility on the bike to actually just either push a button or twist the throttle to actually move. The law stipulates that they have to be pedal assisted.
Yeah.
If a bike performs greater than any of those requirements, then it would be considered as a motorcycle and should therefore be registered, insured, helmets, and the rider should have the correct licence.
So some of these things that we've seen in that report, which you may not have seen, where people are racing around on what looks like a motorbike, that is an e-motorbike. And am I right in saying if you've got one of those, you can only use it on private land?
Correct. If you're going to use, well, first and foremost, the ones that appear to be in the video, obviously I don't want to necessarily mention any brands, but I'm familiar with the bike. They are actually imported and retailed as a motorbike. The problem is people are buying these thinking they're a bicycle, and they're subsequently using them, likely using them knowing that they are using them illegally. The vehicles that I'm referring to, they are what's called type approved. They are manufactured to a high standard, therefore they should be sold as an electric motorbike, and all of the things I mentioned earlier on should the user has an obligation to do all of those things. Yeah. However, to general public and what I think, largely speaking, to some of the authorities, to some of the police, they don't often recognise the difference between an e-bike and what is actually an electric motorcycle.
And sorry, I don't want to waste the whole interview talking about definitions, but just finally, there is a blurring of the lines here, isn't there? Because you can buy a kit, pop it onto something that is legal and make it illegal.
There are kits available online where you can upgrade what is sold as an e-bike. There is also some very, very simple software downloads which then actually make an e-bike, a legal e-bike, illegal. What we are seeing is more and more, particularly last mile delivery riders, delivering food, small parcels, pizzas, those riders are turning to high-powered e-bikes, which are not e-bikes at all. They're categorised as a motorcycle, but to avoid all of the costs associated with that. So in other words, licence, insurance, registration and safety helmet.
Tony, we heard from that reports in the West Midlands from the local authority. This feels like one of the areas where police are catching up with the tech. It's advancing so quick that it's tricky to police at the moment.
Frustratingly, that is the case, I would say, for some forces. I'm sure if you speak to the forces, they'll talk about resources. The reality is this problem's been emerging now for the last 2 or 3 years. We've been speaking with the Department of Transport about it. We've been, banging the drum to say, look, you need to pay attention to this. This is going to become a problem. We know these types of bikes, not just for antisocial riding, are being used to enable more serious crime. We see it quite widely in London now. So it really is a case. There has to be a clampdown. I did see some activity from the City of London Police recently where they're actually stopping lots of riders on e-bikes, checking that they are legal and confiscating bikes that aren't legal. So I think the police really do need to have a crackdown. And as you say, the problem is that this situation's been emerging for quite some time.
Tony, thank you very much for taking the time to talk to us. We're really grateful to you. That's Tony Campbell. He's the Chief Executive of the Motorcycle Industry Association.